We're on the same
When I
side.
woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous.
One about the past and one about the future.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Draftvice. And this week, we've got our buddy Joe Yannucci back on again. You can follow him at Say Mr. Beefy on Instagram. And to his right, a good friend, stand-up comedian, and host at the Rhino Comedy Club up in Suffern, New York. Give it up for Ryan Lodge.
Thank you so much for having me today, Walter. Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on. So we're here. We're going to do a fun draft today. Oh, do you have what's your Instagram, Mr. Lodge?
Oh, well, my social media account is LO Lodge 2014. I don't post as much as I probably should, but yeah, you can be my friend digitally.
Yeah. Follow him
We'll
around.
start there.
And if you want to follow the podcast, you can follow it at Draftvice on Twitter, at Draftvice_football on Instagram. Really check out the Instagram because we're releasing stuff every day on there. And that's pretty much been the primary social media post. And if you want to follow me, you can follow me at Brojo Death Punch. That's BROJO. Death is in the end of life. And punch, like, that's not the stuff that they're drinking in front of us right now. Not punch. So yeah, back to another Draftvice episode. And today we are doing a cartoon character draft.
Okay.
Yeah. The objective here, folks. What should be the objective? Are we just drafting like famous cartoon characters to go ahead and build a franchise around, or are we fighting with these cartoon characters? Because that
what would you say is more entertaining?
I don't know.
Like
I mean,
fighting with
because like
these people?
Fighting?
five team character battle royale has a total different strategy than like, yeah, I'm a movie studio building, like, buying up these franchise characters.
Yeah, that. If we're doing fighting, this is way different than what I prepared for. Because I was gonna draft some guys from the Rugrats, and that would totally screw
That
me
would
over.
Yeah.
Chucky Finster is not winning any fights.
Oh hell no.
So
Angelica though, man, Angelica might have she's got that little girl, angry little girl strength. Plus she can stab you with Cynthia,
that is true.
who's a really good dancer.
That's
God.
true.
Yes. Let's do it as a general, like, fan kind of draft. We don't have to have them fight each other. That way I feel like you can integrate more fun. We're doing mostly childhood cartoons. I guess if you want to institute some adult cartoons as well in there, it's a 5-round draft. And I'll go every time. Every time I do this thing, I never pick the draft order beforehand. So
Really?
I don't think we've
All right,
ever
let's
done
do
that.
it.
You guys can call heads or tails, and then whoever wins can pick the order, whichever way they want. Right?
Okay. All right, that works.
You got it, Joe.
So who wants heads or tails?
Heads.
Oh, okay.
You get tails?
I'll take tails.
You sure about that? It is heads.
All right. I'll go 1, 2, and then 3. I'll take last.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow. I wasn't expecting the first pick. Well, with the first pick in the cartoon character Draftvice draft, I take Doug from Doug.
Doug Funny.
Doug Funny.
Wow.
Yes. He has no fighting skills, but thankfully we're not doing the fighting version of this draft.
Got a sweet sweater vest.
He does. He definitely
Very
had
sweet
some
sweater
sick
vest.
style. He was just a
Where's
general.
the underwear outside the pants?
Well, that was Quailman. That was his alter
okay.
ego.
Yeah.
Does Quillman come with him?
It's in his imagination, so I'd say
Okay.
yes.
I'd say so. That's
Yes.
definitely a package deal. Yeah.
Absolutely. I guess we're drafting cartoon characters. We're not even drafting cartoons. That would have been the better move to do cartoons, but at this point, we're on to the second pick.
Okay. With the second pick of the cartoon character draft, I will go with Auto Rocket
Auto Rocket. Ooh, I like that.
from Rocket Power.
Dude, he's got some style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, of all the Nickelodeon characters, if they ever made like a live action version of any of them, he's probably the one who actually people would be like, "Oh, I want to be that guy."
He shreds. Dude, he shreds.
Yes.
I did my homework last night.
He was all prepped for this this cartoon character draft, and he picked a good one at number 2 overall, first round pick. And Mr. Yannucci, who was your first round pick?
I would have to go with Johnny Bravo.
Ooh.
Johnny Bravo.
Yeah.
Do the monkey with him.
Yeah. Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. The guy could bench a car.
That's true.
He was probably one of the dumbest characters ever to exist in cartoon existence.
You don't need to be smart for that.
No, you don't.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if he was that much of an iconoclast. Again, Cartoon Network didn't really pull in a lot of I don't know.
He wore sunglasses everywhere.
You did.
Everywhere,
That's like
everywhere.
that's
It was
a
great.
That's
power. He was like
It's a big. What's it called? Big
Wearing
dick
a
energy.
yeah.
yeah.
Wearing a
Did he have
sunglasses.
big dick energy though?
Yeah.
I feel like he acted like he had small dick energy.
You think
He
about
definitely.
it.
He definitely seemed like he was compensating for something.
If he's wearing sunglasses everywhere, and that was at what, like in the 90s? I want to
yes.
say. Was he
2000s.
2000
Yeah,
early 2000s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was he our generation's first fuckboy?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
was-
say so. Yeah.
I'm shocked that's not like a thing like that. That like he's not like some like group symbol.
Yeah.
Like because you know how like they do like Pepe the Frog is like apparently a white supremacist image now or something.
Really?
Oh yeah, like that's apparently like it's like a white supremacist meme or something.
That is news to me.
Oh
Yeah, I
yeah,
didn't
so
know
I'm
that.
shocked that like Johnny Bravo didn't become one of those either.
Yeah. That's kind of
He's
bizarre.
definitely misogynistic.
Oh yeah.
Is he?
Very, yeah.
I just thought he did like stupid things.
He was definitely inadvertently.
Not as if being
was just an
misogynistic is
absolute
bad
idiot.
or good, but
He's
you know what I
definitely
mean.
an idiot. He was definitely doing it unintentionally.
Wow. Oh, that's Cartoon Network for you.
Yeah.
Well, since we're going with iconoclast and idiots, I'm gonna go with SpongeBob
Oh,
SquarePants.
damn.
Dude.
SpongeBob. Okay.
SpongeBob.
Famous.
All right.
I think he's probably one of the most iconic Nickelodeon characters. Lives in a pineapple under the sea, hang out with Doug Funny, although Doug Funny would drown.
Yeah.
Probably not a good set of group of guys to hang out with each other because I don't think SpongeBob could hang on the land. Or actually, didn't they have that in the movie?
Yeah.
He actually makes it to the
he
actual.
makes it to land, and
makes
that's
it to
when they
land.
do the scene where he's like an actual sponge.
Yeah,
Yeah. He dude, I mean, when you think Nickelodeon, you think SpongeBob. I feel like.
yeah. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm overloading on the Nickelodeon. I got to go Disney or
Well, no, Nike. They
Warner
have
Brothers
those
next
new
round.
Kyrie Irving shoes,
Yeah.
sneakers.
Oh
the
my God,
SpongeBob,
yeah.
The Patrick.
Squidward, the
Squidward and
Sandys.
Mr. Krabs.
I forgot about
Sandy
that.
Cheeks. Yeah. Just came out with that line.
That was
yeah.
a power pick. I'm surprised he actually went in the second round.
Mm.
I'm kind of disappointed in myself.
Well, now you get to make the decision here.
All right. Well,
Your second pick.
curveball. My second pick, the cartoon draft is going to have to be. I'm going to say, Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Oh, damn.
Cartoon Network.
Yeah,
I think I'm going to pick him because regardless of how cowardly he is, he always followed through and finished.
he was loyal.
He was loyal.
Yeah.
He was like,
That he was.
he didn't want to do any of his stuff, all those crazy adventures that his.
That was one of those
grandparents?
cartoons that the animation style just always creeped me out.
Yeah,
much,
yeah,
so
it was
bad.
weird.
I never was a huge fan. That animation style. What was the other one that I never really liked? I didn't like Bob's Burgers for their animation style either.
Oh yeah,
That was one I didn't care much for, and it took me a while to watch Cartoon Network because of their animation style. Oh, and then Ren and Stimpy, I'm also not a huge fan of, like because of the way they do everything. Like also because they're one of the cartoonists was like a little rapey.
oh yeah. I talked to somebody about that recently. They were like, yeah, that's a weird thing, but yeah, he was like,
He was like
some kind of rapist.
he was a little bit of a pedophile. Not really. I don't want to. I don't want to get in. How do I put it? He was grooming young girls, and he had like a 15-year-old living with him at one point, and there was a lot of creepy dirtiness going on there.
Can't do that.
Yeah, it was.
It's still on
If he
news to
wasn't
me.
a full-on pedophile, he was on that. He was well beyond the border. Let me put it that way.
This is destroying my childhood.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well,
if you think about it, like those episodes.
there goes his next pick, right?
Some of those episodes were like really weird.
Oh yeah, they
and
were really over the top
It
and creepy.
clicks, and it kind of makes sense. Like
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not surprised that he was
Yeah.
that much of a weirdo. Yeah. all
So,
right.
Mr. Yannucci, what is your
I'm gonna go
second-round
with
pick?
Peter Griffin.
Ooh,
Yeah. Yeah.
nice.
Eh.
Peter Griffin. Yep.
Wow.
He could drink like a sailor.
Basically, it's alcoholic Dilbert.
Yeah. It's yeah.
yeah, for real.
It's definitely fitting for me though. I enjoy it. I
Yes.
love the humor.
That was a great show. The weird thing was with it is that it went away for a few years. Like they actually
Yeah.
canceled
Yeah,
it
in
and
the
then came
beginning.
Got
back.
canceled and then came back just from all the reruns that they were getting and all the views. Thank God they came back.
But I think you picked the wrong character on the show, man. I don't know if Peter Griffin would be the one that I would take on that show.
Wow.
Yeah, there's
Shots
a
I think
couple
fired.
others.
I think
Couple
there's better
others.
Shots
characters
fired.
on Family Guy. I'm telling you right now, there's better characters.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'm thinking of them now. Yeah. There's
Oh,
probably
so
quite a
many,
few.
and
Yeah.
many more iconic too.
Yeah.
But so now we are into the third round.
third round.
This is where teams are made, seasons are won, drafts are destroyed. And for my third pick, I'm gonna go with Bender from
That's a good one.
Ooh,
Futurama.
that's a good.
really
That's a
good one.
Since we're moving into the adult realm.
Yeah.
That's true. That's a good one.
That is a good one.
I think that's one of the most underrated shows too.
Oh, yeah.
Futurama.
Yeah,
It was so
Futurama.
good when it
Yeah,
was
Matt
on.
Groening. I mean, listen, to have two really good adult cartoons end up being part of your what you contribute to the ethos, man. I think that.
And that was another one that made a comeback too for a little bit.
Yeah,
on
it
Comedy
did.
Central.
Yeah.
After they got canceled, they came back for like 1 or 2 seasons.
I
think.
forgot about that.
Yeah.
I think cartoons it's a lot easier to pull that off with because all you have to do is get the voice actors or someone quite similar. Like they even did that with Family Guy. Oh, we'll just
Yeah.
replace you with Mila Kunis.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
Huh. All right. Well, I see your pick. And for my pick for the third round of the cartoon draft, I will go with Eric Cartman.
Oh my god.
He's a sadistic little fuck. So I
Meme.
can definitely see that.
Yeah.
Like, remember when he made that one kid eat his parents in that chili bowl?
Yeah, Scott
Yeah.
Tetherman.
It's just a sadistic little fuck. That is a really good pick.
Yeah.
It's just-
And definitely one of the most iconic cartoon characters of the last 20
Oh, yeah.
years.
Yeah, one of the
oh God.
worst.
On one of the most iconic cartoon shows of the last 20 years. Like,
Yeah.
South Park, it was revolutionary.
They're still going too.
Yeah.
Like,
They may be on their final season. They have no idea yet. They don't know.
It's one of the easiest ones to produce. That's why like they can because of how they do the animation style and what they do and what's
Yeah.
involved with it, they can make edits all the way up to the week of the
Yeah.
actual episode being released.
Yeah.
And they've
Yeah.
done that before.
I think that's one of the hardest things about it, though, is that they're so current. They're almost too current. So they like scramble to get shows in and stuff, which is awesome. But I can imagine that being a nightmare sometimes.
But they also don't do as many episodes a year as some other shows.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So they're not stuck with a 22, 25, 30 episode season. So since they have a lot less episodes in their season, they can kind of get away with it, and it's kind of they're working through that the time frame that they're doing their releases
Yeah,
on.
that's true.
So,
Yeah.
Mr. Beefy, what is your next pick?
I think this is gonna be like late night Cartoon Network, like Adult Swim. I'm gonna go with Space Ghost.
Ooh, I don't know how iconic that is. I do remember watching it. It was
Yeah, it's an absolute idiot with superpowers.
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
I remember
Huh.
that was like old school, like that was early stage Cartoon Network,
Yeah.
early stage Adult Swim.
Yeah.
That was before I think they even got the rights to Family Guy.
dude. I was like 9 years old watching.
Yeah,
Wow.
I remember that show being on, but that show always kind of just creeped me out. I was never really into it.
Like that weird cricket thing. I have no idea what the hell it was.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I don't even remember. Like, I remember it coming on, like, really late.
Like around like 11:30, 12 o'clock. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just could never, like, if that was on TV, I'm like, oh my god, I gotta go to bed.
I remember like that was one of the first like memes that they had like on the internet was
Yeah.
like some of the early Space Ghost stuff, and one of them was like because the one character was it Brack? I think it was Brack was Brack the one.
praying mantis thing.
It was that or the cat character. Like they were very much like you guys remember Kazam or Kazaa? It was like it was
Yeah, it was like Napster.
yeah, it was post Napster.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they had videos and like they had more video ability than Napster did, and this was like I guess pre iTunes, but they had like some weird downloads for it and stuff, and they had like some interesting videos of like people were just doing weird cut ups with that. It almost got more famous on the internet as a meme than anything else.
Oh,
And it did as
At
a
that
TV
time.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Huh.
there were a lot of people that were growing into like the meme era that all watched that crap. Kids.
Yeah.
So I mean, just to bring it back like that was great. I
Yeah.
loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Wow.
I can't believe we're already into the fourth round. This is going so quick.
I know.
It's so amazing.
That's what she said.
But also fourth round. This is where teams find those sleeper picks, right? This is where if you pull one out of your
Fourth
ass, you can end up winning the draft,
round.
and that has happened before. And for the fourth round, for my fourth pick, I'm gonna go with Ash Ketchum.
Wow.
Only problem is I don't know if, due to the rules of the game, does he get to bring his Pokemon with him?
So is him and Pikachu a package deal?
That's really.
I would say that's his
I
would
say yeah.
Yeah.
I would give it to him. I would give it to him.
Because
Yeah.
if we're looking at a battle, Ash isn't fighting anyone.
No, he's calling Pikachu, he's calling Charizard.
Yeah.
Again, this isn't a fighting draft, but it is always nice to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Like, imagine we drafted this, and it's like, well, who would win the fight then?
Yeah.
And in fact, we can even do that by the end. We'll be like, well, who would win in a fight now that we've drafted totally not thinking about a fight?
Yeah. Wow.
And I'm at a disadvantage because I made that pick already into the 4th round.
This opens up a lot of doors because all the Pokemon were cartoon characters.
That's true.
So now I'm wondering, who did you guys pick for? I'm guessing, did you guys have Pokemon when you were younger?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, for you mean the video games?
Did you have red or blue?
I had blue, and I always
Red
picked
and
Charmander.
gold.
And you went Charmander?
Always.
Who'd you go with?
Charmander.
Charmander?
Yeah.
Damn.
Who'd you pick?
Squirtle. I was.
At least you weren't a guy
I
who
was-
picked. At least you didn't pick Bulbasaur.
I know.
Like,
I know.
if you picked a grass Pokemon for your starter, you were dumb.
Yeah. If you picked Bulbasaur back when you were younger,
call it
you're
a day.
probably
Just
in
call it a
jail
day.
now. There's a good chance.
No, but I probably have an island I could sell you down in the South Pacific.
Yeah.
I
really.
got a couple of bridges. If you bought into Bulbasaur stock, like, don't get me wrong, Bulbasaur was a nice, like, a very artistically drawn character, very cute character.
Yeah.
But you probably aren't a very good strategist if you drafted Bulbasaur as your
Yeah,
first Pokemon.
that's
That's what I got to do as a Pokemon draft.
I don't know too many
eventually.
people that drafted Bulbasaur.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody did Charmander and Squirtle.
Squirtle, I'll give you that.
Just Blastoise. His
Yeah,
evolution
he's
was
a
fucking
tank.
Badass.
This is awesome.
But there weren't the trick with why you take Charmanders, because there's not a lot of fire Pokemon in the original games.
True.
And the next time you see a fire Pokemon that you could actually catch is what, like Growlithe?
Maybe.
Yeah,
There
I
were
think so.
one of the, and that's why like Bulbasaur. There's a lot of grass Pokemon, and yeah, you can get water Pokemon relatively earlier in the game than you get a fire Pokemon.
Yeah. That's true.
It is harder dealing with the early gyms because the first gym's a rock gym and the second gym's a water gym. But you could always catch a Bellsprout or an Oddish and train them up.
I hope I'm this analytical with football as I am with Pokemon. We got a lot to live up to now.
Right.
We set the bar too high once we busted out Pokemon.
Right?
All right, okay. So you went
Ash Ketchum.
Ash Ketchum. So for my pick for the 4th round of the cartoon character draft, I will also do a twofer, and I'm going to pick Cat Dog.
Cat Dog. Oh.
Yeah.
But is that that was definitely a big
The innocence of dog and the angriness of cat.
Yeah.
I just saw a video literally yesterday on Twitter where this guy it's an old, like, I guess meme or an old video, but the guy was talking about how he was talking about his I guess it was a response to the Four Loko announcement that they were doing the seltzer thing.
Yeah.
And the guy walked in on his, he's like, oh, all the drugs are affecting everybody. It affected my wife and her boyfriend. I walked in on them, and they were using a double-sided dildo, and they were ass to ass. They looked like Cat Dog. He went.
My
I walked in,
God.
and he went, "Ruh?" And she went, yeah.
That's pretty
Jesus
gross.
Christ.
That's a little too much.
A little too much.
Paints
A little too much for a
picture.
draft
Yeah.
ice.
Paints a picture,
podcast.
but whatever. You live and you
I
learn.
mean, it leaves a lot to the imagination when you 3 beers in. And only 10 minutes up.
Huh. Cat Dog.
That's
Well,
the new sex move.
That is my pick. Cat Dog.
Jesus Christ. All right.
For the last pick of the 4th round, we got Mr. Yannucci,
Uh,
also known as Mr. Beefy.
Mr. Beefy. What do you got?
now I'm starting to get a little lost. I guess I could go with Stewie.
Stewie.
Ooh, okay.
Double up on the Family Guy draft.
That's a
He
good
got
one.
the sadistic one with Cartman. I'm getting the sadistic one with Family Guy.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I buy that. I get that.
He's got a time machine.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
He
true.
can do
That
whatever
is
the fuck
a
he wants.
The time
That-
machine.
He has a laser gun
that is a very valuable pick. That
for
is.
a baby from Rhode Island.
When we were talking before about how I think you went with the wrong character from Family Guy. I think you overcorrected though because you drafted 2 guys from Family Guy.
Yeah.
But I at least I agree with the pick this time around. That's actually who I would have picked instead of
instead of Peter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was that. There's like 3 different characters in that show that are
Yeah.
way more iconic that
Yeah.
I can name right off the top of my head. But
Damn,
Good
he's just
job.
trashing you.
Yeah, man. Sorry about that.
Crazy host. Holy shit.
Yeah, I'm never coming back again.
I'll just bring more beer next time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. He's only half listening now.
We are now into the 5th round.
This is it.
This is where you solidify who's going to be the champion. And for my pick, I'm going with Goku.
Wow.
Dragon
Goku.
Ball Z.
I didn't even think of that.
Going into another realm of characters.
Well,
Now that
I mean,
I
it's
went with
right.
Ash Ketchum,
Now
and
they
now
have
I
the
got
games and
Goku.
everything now.
I know. Damn. That's a good pick. I don't know too much about Dragon Ball Z, but that is-
Iconic as hell, though.
Yeah.
That introduced
Everybody-
anime to basically the whole American continent. I
Yeah.
mean, there are NFL players who do like their touchdown moves are basically
Even the
Dragon Ball Z
cleats,
moves.
They do like the
Yeah.
cleats, like with the painting.
Yeah,
on
I
them.
saw
Yeah,
that.
They do everything like that with like the crap.
that's
David Njoku and Darren Fells last year did the fusion dance from Dragon Ball Z
Really?
for a touchdown celebration.
that's crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of players in the NFL who are very much influenced by Dragon Ball Z.
Huh.
That's crazy.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you watch that growing up?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Really?
man.
I was like,
I just started watching Dragon Ball Super because like now I'm like, I don't know what convinced me to play it. I think it was on like, and I didn't really, I wasn't drawn to go ahead and watch it. I hadn't watched Dragon Ball Z in like 10 years.
Yeah.
And like I just was like going through like the on-demand stuff, and I'm like, oh, they have an episode. I'll go ahead and play it. And I'm like, oh, this is really all right, because I was expecting it to be like Dragon Ball Kai, like when they did that a couple of years ago, and I wasn't a huge fan of Dragon Ball GT, so I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out. It ended up being really good, and
Nice.
it's still they're still releasing the English dubs. So
Really?
yeah, so there's about like I think 20 episodes left that they haven't released yet of the English dub. So if you are still looking to get into Dragon Ball Super, go ahead and check it out. There's already like 100 and something episodes.
A lot of episodes.
Oh, that's just Dragon Ball Super. That's not Dragon Ball Z. That's not Dragon Ball GT, and that's not Dragon Ball the original, like the
Really?
original. Oh, there's so many episodes. If you just want to go ahead and like burn out a whole month of time, you can go ahead and just
Yeah.
You
binge
wanna
that.
Quit your job
There
and
were
drop.
really like just like a lot of episodes of like two people screaming at each other.
That's
for
true.
Half an hour, and
There's-
it was just time filler.
Well, yeah,
Judge
they
Judy.
cut together the Frieza fight with Goku, and literally it was 4 hours.
What?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. Somebody cut it together and put it up on YouTube, and I used to play it when I would go to sleep, just to go and be like, "Oh, let's play this tonight." I'll go to sleep and I'll wake up 3 hours later, and I'm like, "Oh, it's still playing." Okay.
What?
Wow.
Jesus Christ. I remember that.
You think people actually
On
watch
TV.
that straight 4 hours? That 4 hour clip?
I know the
You
cell-
have to be able to break it up. You can't just watch
Yeah,
that for
4
4
hours
hours
straight.
straight.
but it's just crazy that it was 4 hours that went on for.
Yeah, that's insane. 4 hours. Holy crap.
All right,
This is
Mr.
too
Lodge.
much.
Okay. To round out the fifth, well, not round out the fifth round, but to round out my team, I guess, my Mr. Irrelevant is going to be Homer Simpson
Ooh.
Okay.
of the TV show The Simpsons.
Oh, I thought you were gonna pick Homer Simpson of the other TV show.
Nope, that's why I clarified. Homer Simpson.
That's the adult TV show that started it all. That's what started the adult cartoon like setup.
Yeah.
I'm shocked nobody picked the Flintstones or anything like that.
I was thinking that, but I don't know.
Living
mean,
with
I-
We don't have any old
dinosaurs.
people on here anymore, so that's
They were part of Cartoon Network.
yeah,
Yeah.
they
They were-
well
they were
Scooby Doo
there.
too. That was another.
Oh, yeah,
Scooby-Doo, too,
Scooby-Doo, yeah.
That's another one, yeah.
I think I honestly between those two, I would take Scooby Doo.
Yeah. I definitely. Oh crap! I could.
I'm saying this while you still have a pick left.
Yeah,
up in the
really.
air.
Yeah.
I feel like the majority of the characters that we're picking, like,
I'm
regardless
already
of
locked in on mine. So.
All
Are you?
right.
Yeah.
regardless
I'm
of how
locked in on
good
mine
they are, like overall as a franchise, we're picking the ones that we grew up with.
Yeah.
I would say for the most part.
Yeah, and also the ones that we found iconic, and the ones that we think that, I mean, you picked a lot of Nickelodeon characters, right?
Yeah,
I know you picked at least two. You picked Cat Dog, Auto
and
Rocket.
Auto Rocket, and Courage, and Homer, and we'll figure it out in the recap.
We'll play back the tape.
Yeah.
we'll
We'll
play.
play it back.
So, Mr. Yannucci, who is
All
the
right.
true Mr. Irrelevant of the draft?
Now, I'm just going to ask this question. I already have mine locked in.
Yeah.
He started out as a comic book, got a cartoon, and then turned into the live action. Is that a legitimate pick? He had a cartoon. He was technically a cartoon character.
Are you gonna go with Batman?
I was gonna say. Oh wait.
He was gonna say Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You were gonna say
Yeah.
Batman. Either or. Is it a legitimate pick?
Batman, yes.
Batman, yes, but Spider-Man, no.
No, because Spider-Man was based off a true story, so I don't think that counts. I don't know if that'll work out. Yeah, I can't see why not. They're pretty flexible.
Yes, because
these
the
rules.
cartoon was actually pretty iconic for people who watched like I think it was Fox. They had the Spider-Man cartoons. They've redone the Spider-Man cartoons. There's been multiple ones.
Have they?
You have to pick a specific one though. Then which Spider-Man are you picking from?
I'm not picking either. I'm gonna go with the Superman cartoons from
Wow.
the early 2000s on WB11.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is like
Yeah.
zoned
Very
in,
specific,
dude.
yes.
That's
There you go.
impressive.
And if this does become a fight at the end, he's picked one of the most powerful characters in the universe.
Yeah, so there's no way. So wait, why did you pick him? Why'd you pick that specific Superman?
I would have picked him as my first, but then I completely forgot about it, and then I was just thinking about it, mulling it over, and I was like, who would be pretty badass?
Yeah.
And so did that.
Did you watch it when you grew up?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Every weekend. I was like those WB11 morning cartoon kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. My runner-up would have been Batman Beyond, but I knew that wasn't as iconic for other people.
I do
Yeah.
remember that. That was a really good
That was
good
one of my
cartoon,
favorite
yeah.
ones.
That was one of the best ones. In
That was
my
a good
eyes,
pick.
yeah.
There's a lot of cartoon characters that we could have picked but didn't.
Oh, there's
I didn't
so
even
many.
think about it. Like, there's a ton. Like, when you said
Eh.
Pokemon, like,
Oh wow, that counts. Like, oh shit, I got to now pick up like which ones I'm doing.
yeah. That's a lot.
So here's a question: who would win in a fight in all our drafts?
I mean, I would say Superman right off the bat.
Yeah, probably the team was Superman. I mean, I got Goku. He could probably hold him off pretty well.
Goku,
That was a
But
definitely.
Spon-
sleeper, though. That
but-
was a sleeper.
But SpongeBob's not gonna be able to do much in a fight.
No, I'm looking
You
at
know
my
what?
team. No one.
SpongeBob could absorb a lot of impact. He could really take a beating.
That's true.
You just rip
He's
him
a
in half
sponge.
and throw him in the
Yeah.
sun.
That's also true, yeah.
I'm looking at Cartman. Cartman could make you eat your parents.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
pretty
Cartman's a
fucked up.
sadistic psycho.
Yeah, it's
Like,
pretty
you
fucked
kill
up.
Cartman, but he'll mess you up mentally, which will last forever.
That's true.
Yeah, I got nobody on my team that would win a fight.
Auto Rocket.
he
He would just do a sick grind.
just get pitted. Just 24/7.
Make fun of you for being a shoebie.
Yeah,
Show him
yeah,
away. That's what I
yeah.
need to do.
You get
Squid.
body slammed by Tito.
He'll just, he'll just go
Tag
ahead
team.
and neg you to death. Be like, oh, you're not good enough, man.
Yeah.
Can't do it. Can you do an ollie though? Can you do an ollie?
Can you kickflip?
There
They
you
used to
go.
do some like crazy tricks that you look at that and you're like, at first you're like, oh my god, that's crazy. Now looking at it, it's like little shit. It's like there's no way. Like they're
It's a
definitely on
cartoon.
performance enhancing drugs.
I want them all tested.
They're all on creatine, doing skateboarding, rollerblading.
So yeah, I think that rounds out this draft. That was a fun one. That was the cartoons were fun.
And I won.
Should we recap? Who we got?
Yes. So what was it? Who you had?
So I had Auto Rocket, Courage the Cowardly Dog,
I should have written this.
Cartman,
I have to go to the
Cat
tape.
Dog, and Homer Simpson. So I don't think I'm winning any fights ever at all, but and looking at that, nobody is definitely my team is not splitting the atom anytime soon. But I don't know. Pretty decent team. I'd say it's all right. I'm like the JaVale McGee of cartoon character teams.
It's a good thing that these aren't. It's not for a battle royale. These are just about being iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had Doug, Ash Ketchum, Goku, SpongeBob. I think I forgot one of mine. What else did I get?
I forgot 3 of mine. It's okay.
You forgot 3. You had.
I had Stewie, Superman. Who
You had
else?
also Peter Griffin.
Peter-
Oh, I
Peter
had Bender.
Griffin.
Yeah, you had Bender.
Your first pick was who's your first pick? SpongeBob?
No, I had SpongeBob.
You had
Yeah,
SpongeBob.
I had Space Ghost.
That was the strange
Wait,
one.
you
I
got
think that was
Bender?
the weird random one.
He
that you
got
were trying-
Bender.
Oh, he got
He
Bender?
got Bender.
Who was your first was?
I forget.
Oh, you had Doug. You had Doug.
You had
And
Doug. I'm drawing a blank. I'll go to the tape later.
Crap, now I'm trying to think what it is. We'll figure it out.
We'll get around to it.
All right. So now we're going on to some football news, and because this is a football podcast, from what I've been told, it is called the Draftvice, and we do talk about football players. Dude, so I don't know. Have you guys been paying attention to Andrew Luck and what's been going on with his ankle, leg, calf?
I heard it was a
ankles?
sprain now.
I've heard
watching
mixed things. It
NFL
went from
Network
like
today.
high ankle sprain to
Yeah.
They said today on Roto World that it wasn't a high ankle sprain,
so.
which was weird.
But they're not sure what it is. It sounds
So
like
many
it doesn't even
conflicting
sound like the
reports.
team knows what
Yeah.
it is.
So many conflicting reports.
Irsay said it was a small bone issue, which like I don't know which bone. But apparently it's one of the small bones in your leg.
Dude, if it's an ankle, and they said he's not going to need surgery,
Mhm.
and it's going to be all rehab. Which, I mean, if he's just going to rehab it, he's got to. I mean, I don't. What's today's date? The 14th.
Yeah.
When's the first regular season game?
In 25 days.
25 days.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to have to do some crazy rehabbing if he wants to be fully healthy for.
I think
week
he'll
one,
play not fully healthy, or they
Yeah.
will shut him down. For
He's
the
also
first
an
game.
animal. Like,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
smart and he's a tank. Like, he'll
I
make
would
it
say
work.
like a 2 to 3 week comeback. Week 2, week 3.
And
week 3
keep in
comeback.
mind, there are quarterbacks who've played with high ankle sprains. There's quarterbacks who've played with ACLs torn. It's a position that you can get away with it, and he lucks out that he has that good offensive line now, which was not a big thing in his early career. He had no
Yeah.
offensive line initially,
Yeah, no.
so.
He won't have to run as much.
Yeah, so they'll probably keep it to a quick game anyway. And that was already part of Matt Nagy's offense. Not Matt Nagy. Frank Reich.
Yeah.
Frank Reich's offense.
Yeah.
Matt Nagy's the Chicago Bears head coach. So, but they come from the same coaching tree.
Yeah.
So, hopefully it's not anything too ridiculous. But he also hasn't practiced in about a couple weeks.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, you're not worrying about him getting chemistry with, say, somebody like T.Y. Hilton.
No, because that's already there.
Yeah, but somebody like Paris Campbell or Devin Funchess. And again, it's something you have to worry about because you don't know if he's going to aggravate it playing it in season.
Yeah.
So
That's the biggest thing because, I mean, he doesn't have the best injury history.
Yeah, no. He's got a lot of missed time.
Did you guys watch any of the preseason?
Yeah. I watched the Pats, obviously.
Well, I feel like watching the Patriots preseason is kind of like you're not getting anything out of it 90% of the time.
I mean, I am. I enjoy it.
You're watching guys in uniform who aren't going to play on the team, or they're just not playing because Bill Belichick doesn't care if he wins the preseason. Like he will
Yeah, I
purposely
understand
start
that,
preseason.
yeah.
And then they played the Lions and they beat them anyway because the Lions have been a weird ass team the last year and a half with Patricia. But were there any because we're currently at week 1 in the preseason when we're recording this? Were there any major takeaways you guys had that after watching it? Was it just fun to have football back?
Well, I would have major takeaways if I watched any of the preseason football this year.
It's probably safe move not to anyway.
I think
Week 3 is important.
Week 3 is important. Week 4, none of the starters are going to play. They're just trying to build second team chemistry, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've been reading a lot. I can't see anything too. Actually, the one thing that I'm surprised about, he's not even that big of a player, but Dante Pettis, going into the summer, was ranked one of the he's going to kill it. He's going to blow up. Yada yada yada.
Big breakout candidate.
And he was like one of the best receivers, yards after the catch. And actually, I think we talked about him before, how he was just en route to kill it. And I think
he's a great route runner.
Yeah.
Very solid hands.
He's awesome.
And he could play all 3 spots on all 3 wide receiver spots, X slot and Z.
Yeah, he does everything. But there was a report that came out, I don't know, within the past week that he's not, he's fighting for his job pretty much. If he's not number 1, he'll be probably 2 or 3, but he hasn't impressed what people expected.
Well, considering most of the time you play, most teams play 11 personnel. I mean, I know Kyle Shanahan plays a little bit more 12 personnel.
Yeah.
So you usually only have 2 receivers on the field. They have a running back, a fullback, and a tight end, and they play that a lot. Juszczyk they made a big deal to go ahead and sign Juszczyk a couple of years ago to be their fullback because he's a good blocking fullback, but he's also a good pass catching fullback, and he creates a mismatch issue. So I think a lot of it is you don't know what people like. There's a lot of coach speak out. There's a lot of things that like the coaches are saying, but you're not sure if they're trying to motivate a guy. I know there was a lot of talk about Pettis playing a lot more in the preseason than, say, even Deebo Samuel played, and Deebo Samuel's a rookie. Mm-hmm. And I know some people who've made comments about that, but you just don't know if that's them trying to bolster up, like, hey, we want you to play harder.
Yeah.
At this stage, it doesn't really change how I'm looking at him. If I start seeing changes in depth chart, if he goes into the 3rd preseason game and he's not starting, if there's some kind of bigger issue, like some other major red flag comes out, then I start to worry. But at this stage, and I don't worry as much because right now they're probably seeing where they have everybody. Yeah. And I think Kyle Shanahan believes that Dante Pettis can be a true number 1 receiver. Yeah. I think that what he does and what Deebo Samuel do, relatively similar. They both can play all, and I think what Shanahan likes is for his receivers to be able to play all around the formation, be able to play in the slot, out wide, be able to be a flanker or an X receiver.
That's true.
And so I think there's a bit to the challenge, but I think they're going to utilize both of those guys anyway. Mm-hmm. I was a bit high on Deebo Samuel coming into the draft. I like him as a player. I also like Dante Pettis, and I like that Dante Pettis as a player.
What about as a person?
I've not met him as a person, although I hear he does have an intense stamp collection, along with Robert Woods. I heard they trade stamps.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Really?
No.
I was like,
this is gonna be cool.
You do research, but to what extent?
One guy I want to talk about. What's his name? Giuseppe or
Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
He had the
guy
kick return for a touchdown.
Conned his way into a tryout.
Yeah, con his way. He showed up and like parked in the driveway and was like, "Can you guys like book me to be on your team?"
And he had punt return, or was it a field?
Punt return.
Punt return, I think.
For a touchdown?
Yes. And then everybody came out on the field, and Odell Beckham gave him cleats for him to wear for that game.
Yeah.
So is he still on the team, or like what's the deal?
Well, it's still preseason. Listen, he's still. I don't know if he's going to actually end up making the team.
Yeah.
Just the fact that you've made it all the way to that when you're not even a guy who were never drafted, you were never on a team.
Yeah.
But he might make it to a practice squad now. You might,
it's still good money.
Yeah.
Well, there's 3 more weeks to follow him just to see
where it goes.
If he can con his way into the starting lineup.
I don't know. No, he's not going to make it into a starter, but he might make it on the team as a special teams guy.
Yeah,
he might not make it even on the Browns. Again, like there's other teams out there that they utilize the preseason to scout other players on other teams.
Yeah,
I'll probably get signed by the Patriots.
But that was a big.
We'll make a star out of him. It's
probably.
Okay. We do it with a lot of other guys already.
Did you guys pay attention to the Antonio Brown saga?
This is hilarious. This is my favorite human being ever.
Now, there's 2 aspects of it. One is he had the weird helmet thing that was going on.
So weird.
He wanted to use a helmet that was over 10 years old, and that's part the NFLPA and the NFL have a current system for certifying helmets, and it did not meet those standards. So they basically said to him, "No, you can't use that helmet," and he threw a hissy fit and threatened to stop playing, which I didn't ever believe he was going to
retire. Yep.
Threatened to retire, but the thing was he was going to kiss $30 million goodbye by doing that. $30 million is a lot of money, man. I was never buying that one.
Yeah.
And unless you're Le'Veon Bell with that sweet rap career, I think, that's pretty stupid.
Well, I think with Le'Veon Bell, like the difference is Le'Veon Bell knew he was going to come back and play. He never necessarily knew how much money he was going to get paid in free agency, but there's a bit of benefit to knowing what you're actually worth on the open market too.
Yeah.
To knowing at least I tried. I went ahead and I played myself up against the market, and this is what I got. This is what I was offered.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think Le'Veon Bell had. It's weird to say, but I think he had a good reason to hold out.
Yeah, and not for nothing, he didn't have to play for a year.
True.
So you got, imagine getting to take off
that rap career.
Yeah, that's true.
Imagine getting to take off from work for a year and then come back and get paid.
Yeah, I mean he's definitely
millions
healthy,
of dollars.
But Antonio Brown is like, dude, he's threatening to retire from a helmet. Le'Veon Bell, like
well, this
he
has
wasn't
already been
threatening to
resolved
retire,
at this point,
but
and he basically came out and said, you know what, I'm not retiring. But it was a
Yeah.
very weird threat that like
he said
there
he's going
had
to
no
sue
teeth.
him if he gets a concussion or something. He's going to sue the NFL or something. So I mean, I don't know. It's
Because he hasn't already had a concussion anyway.
I think they need to put a bird's eye view of what Antonio Brown's view was in the old helmet and compare it to the new view and release it to the public, because I would like to see if it's actually that much of a difference.
That might be
You
why
know?
he, there might be something about that comfort level with the helmet.
Yeah.
I can understand
It's
the
a big
desire to
comfort
keep
level and what your visibility is.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Tom
definitely.
Brady had the same issue with his new helmet that he's being forced to wear this year. He wore it for a few games last season, and just to get used to it. His only complaint was his visibility. It
Really?
wasn't what it was.
I didn't know that.
So, as far as I know, the company who's supplying his helmet, Rydell or whatever, they're gonna be tweaking it a little bit, try to see if they can get a little bit more visibility out of it for him, while still keeping it safe.
Really?
Yeah. And that's
Wow.
that's the route Antonio Brown should have done, but because he's a man-child.
Well, he also wants people to pay attention to him. It's part of it is people talking about him. That's
Yeah.
what he can market off of that, and that's
true.
it's building your brand. When you're an NFL player, it's partially building up how much are people talking about you, how much people are going to be aware
But
of you.
eventually, as far as like the
jersey
franchises
sales
go, they get sick of that crap.
Oh yeah,
They
Yeah.
really do. And I mean, I understand he's on the Raiders, but even they have a fucking tolerable amount.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's going to be a point where they're just going to say, fuck it.
The other thing with him though, he also had that weird thing with the frostbite on his feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Absolute
from
idiot
going
move.
into a cryo chamber with no socks on.
Idiot move.
That was.
But it wasn't really
Bizarre.
frostbite. It was like a weird thing. Like it was like a trench boot or something.
I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever threatened to retire with your current
all the
company?
time.
Yeah.
I threaten to retire to myself all the time.
Yeah.
And
I couldn't
I-
threaten that if I wanted to.
Yeah.
Have you ever done it?
I would like to say yeah, but no.
I mean, I could, but I'm not really threatening anybody with it.
Yeah. There was also the Jadeveon Clowney is most likely to be traded, and there's like quite a few teams that I think could definitely use him.
Yeah.
He's on the franchise tag, but he hasn't signed the tag yet. So the problem
Yeah.
is if he hasn't signed the tag, they can't trade him anyway. It's the same issue they had with Le'Veon Bell last
That's
year.
true. Yeah.
Now maybe it becomes that they get to an agreement on the trade, or they talk to him. I'm sure he's involved with if they're trading him or not. I know he shot down going to Miami because he wouldn't sign a long-term deal, and that's what Miami wanted in order to be trading for him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently Miami was in on that. And they're also in on the Trent Williams potential trade that with the Redskins. Even though the Redskins have openly said that they're not trading away Trent Williams. It's gonna be hard to convince a guy who's just not gonna play for you. Like, get something out of it. Get some kind of draft capital. Get some kind of rebound out of it. Maybe even try to get a backup tackle or something to go ahead and bolster up your offensive line. I know they have Donald Penn that they signed for very little money to be their left tackle for right now to kind of cover up some holes in there. That might be a solid stopgap for right now, but you definitely want to build up, honestly, I think the Browns should try to trade for him and offer to trade Greg Robinson over.
Why'd
I mean,
you
that's
choose
a
the Browns?
possibility.
What?
Why'd you choose the Browns?
I don't know. I mean, it is a
can only
team
imagine.
that could definitely use a left tackle.
I was reading NBC Sports today. They had an article about him from yesterday, and they were projecting he's probably not going to be traded at any point this season.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, there's those possibilities that Wojo was just talking about, and there's the possibility where he just probably won't even go anywhere. I mean, that was a pretty recent article from yesterday. So
Yeah, I saw that, but then I saw some other reporters that had said it's still a possibility. It's still up there. Trent Williams is not playing for
it's
the Redskins.
still too early to say
Yeah,
for him. Yeah.
and we saw this with the Texans a couple of years ago with Dwayne Brown, where Dwayne Brown didn't want to play for the Texans, and they traded him mid-season to the Seahawks.
Yeah.
So it might not be right away. It might be in a couple of weeks, and it might be when a team gets desperate enough to say, hey, you know what?
It's up in the air right now.
We don't like our situation. The reason why I mentioned the Browns do have some offensive line problems. Another team, I was talking about before with the Texans, another team that has typically had some offensive line issues and has a lot of capital and space to play with it.
The best part about that, though, even if their offensive line is having problems, they have a quarterback who's not scared to throw the ball and actually get it connected to him.
Are we talking about the Texans, the Browns?
No, the Browns.
Oh, are we talking about the? Is this some shade at the Giants?
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
Fucking idiots.
Local, not Giants fan.
No, but seriously, like, even if they're having problems with their offensive line, they have a quarterback. Even if he's feeling rushed, he can throw the ball confidently.
Yes.
And get it into a receiver's hands.
Yeah.
So it's nice that he's still young enough and he has the ability where he can operate very quickly if he needs to.
Yeah.
So it gives them time to really develop their offensive line.
Yeah.
So as far as the Browns go, I think even if they need work, I think they're going to be fine offensive wise. Gotcha.
And then the last thing I wanted to touch on was Darius Geis hasn't even been cleared to play yet, which I think is a bit of a. This is a guy who's had multiple surgeries, dealing with this ACL tear, hamstring issues. He's been in practice, but he hasn't been cleared to play.
He's been in practice. He has not been cleared for full contact yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've seen video of him catching passes from Dwayne Haskins, so that's a nice thing to see. I feel weird with Darius Geis this year just because of the offensive line. Again, still having questions with Trent Williams.
Yeah. And AP is still there.
AP is still there.
Even though he's older.
It's the ghost of AP.
Yeah, he's like Frank Gore. He's going to be
gonna
like
keep going.
56, and he's still going to be...
It's literally, I think the two of them probably text each other, except they probably don't know how to use a
They
cell
probably
phone.
have a challenge going on, like...
They probably use a rotary phone to get in
you?
touch with each other.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
So, I see
you're
still
him.
playing. You're playing running back.
I see Darius missing at least 1, maybe 2 games, so he might have a week 2, week 3 return.
Gotcha. That might be that seems like about a good estimate.
Yeah.
For a guy who still hasn't been, playing full contact.
Yeah.
Fantasy wise, I don't know if I would. It would have to be like super late for me to want to draft him, I think.
Yeah, I think there's a value to him at a certain spot. I don't think he's going very high, especially because, like you said, Adrian Peterson is there. I think, honestly, I just don't like the Redskins in general. I just think that they're a mess.
As a team, as an organization, as people.
The owner's not exactly the brightest person.
As a city.
Well, there was I talked about this at the end of the last podcast. I did like a 10-minute clip about this. It was Sua Craven's former safety last year who retired from the Redskins and then unretired and then got traded to Denver is another guy who he came out and said like part of the reason why he wanted to be out with the Redskins was because of similar issues that Trent Williams is having. And again, this has kind of become I think a consistent theme amongst the Washington organization.
Yeah.
So it's not a good look, and it's not helping the NFL either for making them look good either, because you're seeing an organization this badly run that players are having medical issues consistently, and then information issues consistently as well with those medical issues.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think this is gonna wrap up this episode. It was fun having Jan. Again, if you want to follow Ryan Lodge, you can follow him at
LODGE 2014.
Did you make that account in 2014?
That was actually the year I was born. So LO Lodge 2014. I use
You look awfully old.
I'm very mature for my age. So
were you from the Lice Lady?
So much testosterone in my family.
And you could follow Joe Yannucci at Say Mr. Beefy.
Say Mr. Beefy. Say it.
Say Mr. Beefy? Mr. Beefy.
Mr. Beefy.
And you can follow the podcast at Draftvice on Twitter, at Draftvice_football on Instagram. If you're watching us on iTunes, if you're watching us on YouTube, because that's where you watch things, you can like it, subscribe, leave a little comment down there. Maybe we'll read it one day. And if you're on iTunes, subscribe and leave a review. And share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Share it with your grandma. And
Maybe not your grandma.
maybe
share,
not your grandma.
Share it with your grandma. Yeah.
Share it with your grandma.
Share it. Dude,
Share it with your grandma.
Share it with your grandma.
And you follow me at Brojo Death Punch, BROJO. Death is in the end of life. Punch as in what you will probably want to do after hearing my voice for 45 to 50 minutes.
Definitely share this with your mom.
And your grandma.
Absolutely.
And your grandma.
And check out the Instagram because the Instagram has a whole bunch of fun stuff on it.
Your grandma must checked out the Instagram.
Oh,
I don't
She's
know
all
why
over the
you
Instagram.
wouldn't. Your grandma's liking all of Wojo's posts. Can't see why you wouldn't.
Yeah, especially the ones about Dante Pettis.
Yeah, yeah.
We're on to
When I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous.
about the past and about the future.